This review has been approved by the Straight Edge Parrot. Welcome to this installment of the Straight Edge Game Room. Today we're going to be looking at the Sega Game Gear, Sega's answer to the Game Boy. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it garbage? Well, let's take a look. Now I'm going to take a very unscripted and raw breakdown of the game console. So this was Sega's answer to the wildly popular Game Boy. Nintendo was dominating the market, and even when this came out, it didn't slow down the Game Boy, even though it had a lot going for it. You got your D-pad right here, your 1 and 2 button, and your start/pause button. It was backlit and the games were in color, and it was a lot like a mini portable Master System, except that this thing had more colors than the Master System, which is why there was never an adapter made where you could play these on the Sega Genesis. Essentially, the hardware would have been compatible, but the color palette was just too much and it would have just looked messed up. Turn the console around. It takes 6 AA batteries to power it, and on average you'll get about 2 hours of gameplay on this. There's where you insert the slot, or rather insert the game. There's the port for the AC adapter, the power switch, headphone jack, volume, and an extension if you wanted to hook up another Game Gear. And boy, is this thing really stuck in there. There we go. If you want to get the link cable and play 2-player games with another Game Gear. And it had a decent amount of games going for it. It had a fluorescent tube backlight, which is what eats the batteries. That's the #1 killer of the batteries in this game console. Now, for those of you who have an original Game Gear, you'll notice that the front glass is actually glass. It's not plastic on mine, because I had it sent to a guy down in Tucson who replaced all the capacitors. And that's another thing you got to take into account when you buy an old Game Gear, is that if it's not recapped, it will die on you. All Game Gears are prone to just die on you because the capacitors they used in them were real cheap and just unreliable. But that's not the end of your console. If it dies on you, that's not the end. You don't have to bust it up and throw it against the wall and hit it with a hammer like I've seen some other guys do on their YouTube channels. No, don't do that. You can buy capacitors for it, or you can send it somewhere and get it recapped. Don't be childish. So it's a real cool but quirky design. It's just real innovative, but there was just a lot of flaws like the ones that I mentioned. As you can see, as I switch out the game pack, the screen is kind of hard to see. It's a lot better off camera than it is on camera. The camera doesn't pick this up too good. The Sega Game Gear is essentially a mini CRT TV, and you can convert it to one. Now, there are other accessories you can buy to help out with that, like this magnifier lens. Check that out. And that does help a bit. It actually, for me, it works a little bit, especially when I got one weak eye and I have to wear glasses to play this thing. And you could also do something about the screen. You can get it modded. You can send it to certain services that will mod the screen. They will change it to a LCD screen with an LED backlight, and the fluorescent tube inside of this is what kills the batteries. That's the big power eater inside of this console, is that fluorescent tube. But you can change it to LED and it'll make your battery life last much longer if you want to spend the extra $300 to do that, or you can buy the kit and do it yourself. So yeah, it's a neat console, but unfortunately it's not as low maintenance as some of you would like it to be. It's not as low maintenance as I would like it to be, but it's nowhere near as high maintenance as the Atari 5200, which I will do in another review if I ever get my hands on one. But yeah, that's my breakdown of the Sega Game Gear.